This is food. This is beans. But yeah, let's get on with it then. Superman. Let's take a closer look, Adrian, at Superman, the 2025 Superman, because there's another movie called Superman from years ago that this is not. This is directed by James Gunn and written by James Gunn. And this guy's like a powerhouse. Honestly, man, speaking of like people we talked about that are really, inundated with work, like Neil Druckmann, this guy must be like, he's dealing with a lot of things, trying to run a universe and then also writing and directing this movie. This stars David Cornsweet as Superman, who's not an unknown actor because he's in quite a few things, but he's mostly in side parts in a lot of the things he's in for the most part. But I think that David Cornsweet killed it. I think Rachel Brosnahan playing Lois Lane killed it. I think Nathan Fillion, speaking of Nathan Fillion, killed it. And he's in it a lot more than I expected him to be. But I don't know. I think like overall the cast is great. I think the tone is interesting. James Gunn recently said that this universe largely will be a different tone in every piece of like every property, whether it be the Lanterns TV show or another movie like the Supergirl movie going forward. So I'm super curious how things will go, because we've seen what happened to the MCU, and like the late game MCU after Endgame has kind of not been as steady going, and it was such a good role. And I really personally, based on seeing this movie, I'm hoping that the rest of the DCU can follow this trend, because I really liked Superman. I thought it was excellent, and I recommend anyone who's interested remotely in Superman to go see this. But yeah, those are my kind of high level thoughts on it. Oh, I also love the fact that the Superman is such a square. I love it. I love the music choices. He's just like it's great. Sorry, I'll throw it to you. What did you think overall?
No, man. Yeah. Like I agree with everything you said. I think the cast is phenomenal. I want to shout out, because you didn't mention him. I might be mispronouncing his name. Eddie Gathegi. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I'm probably saying it wrong, but he plays Mr. Terrific in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I think he's the standout, actually. He was my favorite character in this movie, funnily enough. I think he adds, like, there's this cool factor with him, but also adds a lot of comedy throughout the movie. I only know this guy from, or at least, like, from what I remember him from, was he's in X-Men First Class. He's, like, one of the kids in X-Men First Class. So it's kind of crazy to see him come back, I guess, like 15 years later, 14, 13 years later, and now the DCU, and playing this, like, major role in the Superman movie. Really good. Isabella Merced also in it as Hawk Girl. Again, we talked about her quite a bit because of Last of Us season 2. But
Eddie Gathegi, I think you pronounce it. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. But he's in For All Mankind in a pretty huge role.
Oh,
and he's excellent in it. Excellent. I've seen him in something else before that as well, but that's the most prominent role, because that's many episodes. Any TV show really that you see, like Jeremy Allen White, I feel like I know really well now because we've seen so many episodes with him. Same with like Diego Luna. Like I don't see Diego Luna in that many things, but then you see him in like that many episodes of Andor, and it's crazy to think that Diego Luna is in Star Wars more than Harrison Ford. You know what I'm saying? Kind of crazy.
Whoa, yeah, that's a good point.
And Mark Hamill, to be fair.
Oh,
it's just if you're on a TV show for that many hours, you're technically in the show. You're in the universe more.
Yeah,
it's just the way it works.
But yeah, I don't know. This movie's really good. I think it has a very balanced tone as well. Like it's not like a ha comedy, but there's a lot of jokes spread out throughout. It's not dark and dire like the Zack Snyder movies, which again,
certainly not.
Like I love Batman v Superman. I think it's great. I like Man of Steel. I like Zack Snyder's Justice League, but like this is very different in tone. So if that's what you're hoping for, you're not going to get it. Simply put, but there are dark moments. It's not like, I think James Gunn is a master of balancing tone in his movies. Guardians 3, I think is actually his best example of that, where it can be very sad, but also very funny and very heartfelt. Yes. And I personally think this is a little bit of a regression in comparison to Guardians 3. but that's not necessarily like a super bad thing. I still think this is very, very good. It's different. Yeah. It's not the same tone, but again, I don't think it's as like, it doesn't go to the heights or the extremes as Guardian does with the emotions that you feel. I think this is actually a relatively safe movie, personally. It does a lot of interesting things, but it, funnily enough, kind of follows the original Marvel formula where the hero fights a very similar villain to them at the end, and that's kind of the
part
setup.
of the Marvel formula, though, is that you. Yeah, actually, yeah, no, it is. It's funny. The movie overall is kind of Marvel formula, and they don't do like an origin story, which is cool. Like this starts right away. You know that right from the get go, which is cool. Like they just like they skip a lot of the parts like the Man of Steel didn't skip. I guess, which is cool. But cool, you're right. In some way, we can talk about it when we get into spoilers. But let's be careful about. Let's tread lightly on this.
Yeah, of course.
Topic.
It is and the cool part about this is this feels like a lived-in existing universe. Like this universe has existed for a long time, and it kind of throws you in. So it's interesting because
Star
it's
Wars like in that way, like the original Star Wars in that way. Like you get thrown in a more deliberate way, and it's like not like. The thing that I love about it is how much detail and thought James Gunn clearly put into it. And one of the things that I think represents this the most is what MCU is screwing up the most is the power metrics, figuring out where one hero or one character or one monster is more powerful than the other heroes in the list, figuring out where their powers come from, trying to define those elements of what makes characters fighting each other, one would win over the other. That is super important, and I don't think they failed at all in this. And I think that's a detail orientation that James Gunn brings to this. This is why I think it sets the tone for the DCU, is that I hope he just brings that level of detail. Like I hope he's got a room somewhere where he's got a power hierarchy that he's not going to like adjust. Like he's not going to just like have a director come in and say, you know what? I want Clayface to just be more powerful than Superman now. Like, no. He's not.
Are you talking? Don't you mean Black Adam? Because the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change, man. When The Rock showed up.
Yeah, right.
It's Black Adam. What a good movie that was.
That's crazy. Crazy.
God, what a shit show. What a bummer. Anyways, we're on to bigger and better things. In regards to the special effects in this movie, I think they're really good. I think it doesn't really take you out of it. There were a couple moments with Crypto in particular, the dog. Like it's a CGI dog, but he looks really good. I kind of do wish that at least sometimes they had a real dog there.
Yeah, maybe it's you should have put that dog in a harness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Just fucking do that. Make this cute dog, because there's a lot of cute scenes with, it's in the trailer, but like Crypto lying on Superman and like looking at his face. I'm like, this is really cute, but I kind of wish it was just a real dog. Like at those moments, obviously you can't have a dog fucking flying around, throwing people about in like a 780 twirl or whatever, 720 twirl, a twirl, multiple twirls. But you could do something. You could do something.
Yeah, I think
music really good as well. Sound design really good as well.
For sure.
Sorry. Please go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, but that's a great. We could talk about music. Yeah, I think like the score is really good. I think that the pulling in the original Superman score, like John Williams' score, and then using that was really, really great. And we obviously saw that in the trailer, so we knew that was coming. That's awesome. But then obviously James Gunn's signature style, he loves music clearly, and he loves various artists, and not just using a score like a composer to make the music for his movies, but using music in a grander way. And there's one scene in particular in about the middle point of the movie with one particular character that I thought was just like awesome. And there's lots of moments in the movie where he uses music, and like he does this in Guardians as well, where he uses music in like fight sequences, like fight choreography. That I think is just really, really great in general. And it, like the deep cut choices he makes to songs he chooses, or the bands he references in the movie, in his movies in general, are really great. And they make these songs popular, as it has with Guardians, certainly over the years, like with Volume 1, especially, like how like Hooked on a Feeling is such a song that everyone like thinks about more than I had ever heard before that movie came out. There's no way that was as popular as it was. Maybe it was popular back then when it came out. in the 80s, but not like now it's again, it got a resurgence in a way. It's almost like when Stranger Things had that On a Hill song,
Yeah, running
whatever
up
it's
the
called.
hill. Yeah.
Running up that hill, yeah. Yeah, that was obviously a resurgence of the song. But yeah, he just does a great job with that. It's awesome. Like James Gunn's kind of a hipster, but in like the actual term hipster, as opposed to the guy who's just wearing like a monocle and like you know weird clothing. Like he's
Yeah.
actually a hipster. He kind of sets trends in some capacity. I find it's really good. I really love it. The stylization overall, though, even in like the fight choreography and like again, it's all about the devil's in the details type situation, which I really appreciate. And I think you didn't mention this guy yet, but Nicholas Hoult was just like amazing. I think he was excellent. Like he was such a good choice for Luthor. One of the great things about this as well is like Lex Luthor is such an intelligent character. I'll just leave it at that. Like I think that James Gunn knows what these characters are about, and he understands them in a fundamental way. And that's what makes this work in a superhero movie. This is like almost the number one thing that Marvel needs to get right now, and they're failing. And James Gunn came out of the gate swinging, and he knew even in Creature Commandos, he knew what the characters, the power hierarchy. I should start just calling it the power hierarchy. Is a better term than power metrics. Power metrics sounds like some kind of a situation with like your hydro bill or something. So, but yeah, I feel like Creature Commandos like does the same way. You have a bunch of characters that have very distinct power sets, and to actually show where some would beat others, I think is super important. And I think they understand that. He completely understands it here. But yeah, I think overall, what you were saying before about James Gunn having like always bringing heart to his movies, this is exactly what he did here. And I think again, the way David Cornsweet plays this character in such a, again, he's kind of a, I don't know, he's a pretty straight dude. You know, he's got like not straight as in like.
Well, I mean, he is straight
orientation.
Sexually as well with, and him.
Yeah,
his
that could
chemistry.
Be a spoiler. Cool yourself.
What do you mean? In the trailers, they're making out, dude. Him and Rachel Brosnahan.
You never know. He could be bi.
That's
you
true.
Don't know.
Yeah, there is actually a scene where. Never mind. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, right. But yeah, okay, cool. Anything else you want to add before we slip into trailers? Slip into spoilers for a brief time.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I just briefly touched on it.
I gotta stop doing that. Slip into spoilers only for the people watching the closer look. But yeah, we're not gonna spoil it here.
Again, David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan, their chemistry was palpable. I thought they really great how well they play off each other. There's like this, their relationship in the movie seems like a real relationship. It's complicated. It's not all roses. But there's. I
want to see more of them though. Maybe that's my criticism of that. I don't want to get into. I don't want to get into too much because that's a spoiler conversation. Yeah. But you're right. That was really great. They're awesome. Their chemistry is fantastic. Terrific.
I think they do good stuff. I think Jimmy Olsen as a character in this movie, I don't think we see much of him in the trailer. He's played by Skylar Gisondo. I haven't seen this guy in too many things. Like I think most recently I saw him in the video game The Quarry, made by like Supermassive. Right. Like I think he's like one of the characters in that. But I like Jimmy Olsen's like portrayal in this. I'm not a huge Superman guy. I'll be honest with you. Like I never even watched like the original Christopher Reeve movies. I don't think. Maybe in passing. I've watched a few episodes of Smallville here and there, but again, like I'm not much of a comic book reader in regards to that. But I think this was a really great jumping off point for this DC universe. It gets me excited about more to come, and yeah, man, this is awesome. If this is how the DCU starts, I'm curious to see where it's going to go. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think this was really good.
Now we're going to start spoilers for reals. For realsies, it's spoilers time. Yeah, I mean, first of all, obviously, if you haven't watched Superman, I recommend it. Instead of listening to this podcast, this a closer look episode. But we are going to spoil the heck out of Superman now for certain aspects of it. I think we might spoil some aspects. I don't know about that. We'll avoid spoiling Creature Commandos, I guess. Why would we do that? But yeah, no reason to do that. But we're gonna spoil Superman. So if you don't, if you haven't watched it, don't watch this. Don't listen to this. Adrian, Lex Luthor and Superman really go head to head here, and I feel
Yeah.
like this is in stark contrast to Batman versus Superman in a way, in that maybe, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor at the very least is much worse than Nicholas Holt's version of the character in the way that it's written. Like, he's clearly a much more intelligent character. The fact that he's basically playing chess moves to fight Superman with the other version of Superman, with like the duplicate.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
I guess that's the big
Ultraman.
spoiler. Ultraman is like just a clone of Superman, and that's
Right.
what I was referring to. That it literally devolves into that Marvel formula of Superman is facing himself, but in this case, he's literally facing a clone of himself,
Which has happened lots in the Marvel
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe, to be fair. Like, if
yeah, that's my point.
yeah, which is very common. Like, it's just like one of those things. Like, didn't they just do that? Yeah, they did it in almost the literal way, actually, in the movie, but we're not going to spoil that movie. So
Yeah,
but the most literal way you can do it. But this is very literal too. It's just, it's a clone, which is pretty cool. Those fight sequences were pretty cool between. I guess that's a little bit safe. I guess what you were talking before is that it's a bit of a safe choice.
Yeah.
In that regard, but he's not really fighting himself in this case. He's fighting Lex Luthor's version of himself, and Lex Luthor's really calling all of the shots, which is neat. And that, again, the Lex Luthor versus Superman dynamic of him, like, again, brains over brawn, or brains versus brawn, is pretty clear here. And I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a smarter Lex Luthor in any property that I've ever watched, including the original Superman, or certainly including Jesse Eisenberg's character, which is not bad. I like his Lex Luthor.
Me too.
But I think that this is a much more smartly written. I don't think smartly is a word, so it's perfect.
It's good
for the word smart. But yeah, it's a much more smart like way to write these characters. So
yeah,
I really appreciate it. It was good.
Yeah, man, me too. I think the one thing that kind of threw me off is it felt like they had this existing relationship, like that Lex Luthor and Superman knew each other. But then there's the scene where Superman shows up at Lex's office because he stole Crypto, the dog. And he's like, "Where's my dog?" And then Lex Luthor says, like, "Oh, Superman, we finally meet face to face." That actually kind of shocked me when that line was said. I was like, "Oh, like this guy just fucking hates Superman," but they haven't even had a single conversation yet. It was a little bit odd. I found that actually. I didn't like that as a choice personally. Didn't like ruin the movie by any means, but I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I kind of wish they did have this like more existing relationship, because there's like this real rivalry between the two of them, but it's like a rivalry between two people that have never met each other at all.
That's what I assumed, though, going into that scene. I did assume he didn't know him.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I did not assume that. I was like, oh yeah, of course they know each other. But yeah, it's cool. And I mean, I guess to bring it back to literally the start of the movie, how the movie starts, it's cool because it's like 3 years ago or 3 decades ago, like a baby fucking landed
300 years ago. It just kept dropping a zero, and then it started to do hours, and like it started doing days, weeks. It was months, days, weeks, hours, minutes.
Yeah, and I think that was a cool way of avoiding doing the origin story while just essentially creating a universe within 6 lines of written words, right? Yeah. So I think that was a really cool thing that they did there. A lot of cameos in this movie as well.
Yeah,
I'm kind of ping-ponging here. I'm sorry, Simon. You stop me. I feel like I'm like fucking.
Yeah, I mean,
going so sporadic.
Like we obviously had like Christopher. What's his last name? Peacemaker's name? Whatever. It was. It's John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena.
Apparently, I couldn't see him though. But that's what they tell me. Is what they tell me. But no, he was in it. Then there's Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper was in it.
He's cool. Jor-El. Which is interesting.
So this is an interesting thing, just like the segue into that. I don't know if you have more to say about the cameos before we go back to that.
Millie Alcock was in this movie as well. She Supergirl shows up. I wasn't expecting that for some reason. I know she was cast, but I thought this was like a more recent casting. But no, she's in it. Again, very small role.
We were told that she was in it though. That's a good point, actually.
Oh, we were?
Yeah. Yeah, they said that she was part of the cast, I think, at one point in the very beginning, like way back, like a year ago.
I had no idea.
I think that's true. I just didn't even put 2 and 2 together. I thought that you were about that was what you were saying.
No,
Or
it's
is
a
it?
good thing that I'm like so disconnected from this industry that we do a podcast about, dude.
Yeah,
Thank God.
sure. I think so, but it was like a year ago. It was a long time ago. You said you don't
Okay.
have a good memory, so that's
No,
the
I
thing.
don't.
That's good though. That's a good thing you don't remember it, because then you can be surprised.
Yeah.
That's actually another good point. The trailers for this didn't really reveal much. Like, I didn't really understand what the plot was and like how Lex Luthor was doing this. Like the whole plot with the politics aspect of it. My favorite thing about this entire movie, though, by far, and I think there's nothing even close to it, is it, and it is reminiscent, I guess, of why I like the Age of Ultron, like Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye going home to his cabin scene. But the argument between Lois and Clark in that 10-minute sequence is literally amazing. It's the best sequence of the entire movie by far. And there was a James Gunn interview where he was like, it was a risky thing to put that into the movie for whatever reason. But I'm like, that's the best thing you put in the movie. It kind of defines the relationship. It defines the political issue that they're having the worldwide with, like, what's the, because we don't really understand what's a Barovia. We don't really understand what's going on in Barovia.
I think it's fairly
kind
clear
of implied,
that this is,
but then then you explain it. They explain it in better terms in that argument, which you kind of don't quite understand, like what pieces on the board were moved before that sequence, and then they explain it in like the most. It never felt like they were doing too much exposition. They were explaining it in a very, very actual argumentative way, like they were actually having a conversation that we were just seeing and watching. It was really good. It was really
I think it was really
scripted.
cool because I think this is very clearly like reminiscent of the Israel-Palestine conflict as well. So it's like we have real world situations that are going on that we can take from and kind of bring into that.
That's such a controversial choice you just made.
Yeah. Do you not agree with that? Am I wrong?
I don't agree at all. I think it's way closer to Russia and Ukraine, like way closer.
Oh, actually, you know what? That's actually a good point too. That's a good point
because I guess they do speak in like a Slavic, people are very like choosy about Israel Palestine, and so like I connected that to, I thought, world events, like that's probably, they maybe pulled some inspiration from that. But I think mostly, it felt like, especially the way that the leader of Barovia kind of talked, and especially the fact that his people were all like, "Oh yes, sir, you're so handsome today, sir." That part was very Putin-esque from my perspective, because it's such a dictatorship in Russia. It seems like that's why I kind of drew that as well. I don't. It's kind of a democracy in Israel, so like I don't know. The reason doing that with
I took the Israel-Palestine thing is because it's like the American government, it seems like they're on the side of one nation, and like they're talking about how this nation is getting like a bunch of weapons and funding from the Americans.
It's about you know what it could have been? Yeah, that's a great call out. I think it's probably a mix, because James Gunn doesn't want to get overly political, and to mix it up like that and to reverse it a little bit with which side's getting the weapons and stuff. I think that's part of it too. It's like I'm not making a statement here. Like, we have political wars that are happening right now. I don't want to. Well, I mean, all wars are political, but there are wars in the real world. I don't want to get too political with the way I'm not making a statement. It's just like we're gonna mix it up with the various sides, so we don't make it clear what we're talking about. And the fact that it's not Russia, obviously, because there's Russia exists in this
the world.
Yeah, in the world, because there was that version of events where like they did an alternate history where Superman lands in Russia.
Superman Red Sun or something like that. Yeah.
So
is Barovia what's the nation that Creature Commandos takes place in?
It's Poo something. Poo. Good question. It starts with a P though.
Poo something.
Creature Commandos. No, that's a really weird nation though.
Yeah.
Like, they have really weird technology. They're like they're almost like
Wakanda, like in a weird way.
Yeah, worse Wakanda.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Creature Commandos country, I guess. I don't know if that's going to come up quickly. The fictional Eastern European country of Pokalistan.
Okay, cool. Yeah, when
it's
I was
smarter
there,
to do fake countries, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Dude, yeah, obviously. Yeah. Come on.
Well, you just connected it directly to Israel and Palestine.
That's true. It is true. But I did that, not James Gunn.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where to
But you're
shake
right,
this
though.
up.
It is connected. I think he's trying to connect them all. He's
Okay.
connecting them. He's connecting them, but he's connecting it all vaguely so that it never feels like we're making too much. That Israel-Palestine conflict is so complex. There's just no reason to put that into Superman. So you did a good job. You did a good job with it. What
Thank
were
you.
we talking about other than that? In terms of that war, it's pretty cool. Like the way they did the war, I thought was neat. Like I thought bringing in, it's funny because there is a deliberate conflict, worldwide conflict in another movie that came out this year that's also around superheroes, and it should have been a more grounded movie because you don't have a bunch of flying superheroes with green powers and like a guy who's literally almost unkillable in it. And that movie is Falcon, Captain America 4. Captain America Brave New
Oh my
World.
God,
And
I
they had a
forgot that
huge political thing in that. And I never felt that was realistic. And it's strange because it's like it should have been more realistic because these characters don't even have powers. It's Captain America. He's got no super serum. It's so stupid. Anyway, like this felt more grounded. How is that possible? And that's again a point that I've made many times. And I think like you probably make the same point, is like you can make a realistic story that makes sense. You can make it work within the universe that you made, and the physics can make sense inside the universe, and then there's no plot holes. But if you don't have finely defined physics and the world building and how things actually work properly, and things are all loosey-goosey with a bunch of loose threads that are not tied up properly, you have a mess. And that's really the definition of what Captain America Brave New World is. It's just not defined in almost any way. I don't know what Sam's powers are. I don't know how he's able to throw the shield and it can bounce off multiple objects and come back to him. I don't understand how he can even throw the shield that hard. He's a regular guy. It doesn't make sense. And so they even defined like how Superman heals in this one. He heals directly from the sun. He restores from the sun. They even use that. I don't know what that guy's name is, but that's the dude from freaking Barry, isn't it?
Yeah, Anthony Kerrigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what's the name of the character?
I have
it's
no
like
idea.
Elemental something.
I don't know, but he's kind of fun. He's got a fun power. And the fact that he makes the sun in that situation to charge Superman up, and the fact that, again, they really deliberately show off like how Superman's powers work in a mostly non-exposition way. Like they do a pretty solid job. Even like the way they talk about the hypno glasses, which is apparently comic thing. It's a comic thing that's in the comics, and they define it because it's also like people would know the guy who would know the most is the guy who's clearly incredibly intelligent, who's literally calling out move sets to Superman 2, Ultraman. Like that Lex Luthor would know, like 100% that Clark Kent is Superman because it's incredibly obvious.
Yeah.
Because Clark Kent is interviewing him multiple times. And the fact that he doesn't seem to know is absurd.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is literally a line where like Lex Luthor, when he captures Superman and has him in like the cage thing. And apparently Anthony Kerrigan's character's name is Metamorpho. I don't think they used that name in the movie.
I did hear about that before the movie came out, but I'm like, who's Metamorpho? I don't know who that is. Now we know. Now we know who it is. It's Anthony
Elemental
Kerrigan's
Hands guy.
Yeah. His elemental everything. He turned his whole body into acid and then shot it at the guys.
That was cool when he was just a floating head with a bunch of shit coming out of him.
So this is also about the same point, but the way that James Gunn chooses to make the characters fight in different ways as well. None of the fight choreography ever gets boring in any of his movies. He's just really good at that. Like he just changes it up always. He constantly, like he doesn't have Superman just shoot laser eyes constantly. He uses it in strategic ways throughout the plot and to make it make sense in specific spots.
Because he doesn't use his laser eyes until like over halfway through the movie. When he uses it at like this, it's like when he's in like the river or whatever, and he uses his eyes the first time. I was like, oh shit, I forgot Superman could do that. It was like it was cool. Like it was surprising, even though this is like a known thing Superman can do, because he's holding back. Like I do agree with you. The fight choreography in this movie was really good, and again, this like I think the CGI and everything is really good. It never looked like a CGI mess ever in the movie. Right. And I think that really lends itself to it. Like I almost want to make the comparison to like the John Wick movies where like different characters have different move sets. So every fight scene is interesting. It's obviously not the same. Like choreography, it's superheroes, but it is similar in that sense too.
Eddie Cathagi's characters, like Mr. Terrific's fight scene, is literally incredible. It's awesome.
Yes.
It's literally terrific, I should have said, but
Ah,
it's incredibly great. And then like seeing his character, I didn't think he was going to be that big of a player in the movie. I
no.
didn't really think that Nathan Fillion's character was going to be that big of a player. I thought they were going to show up for 5 seconds, and it's one of the things I was worried about most with this movie is they announced all these different characters were going to be in it. I was like, are you sure, James? Like, are you sure you can pull this off? Like, it's a lot, like all at once. But yeah, that Mr. Terrific fight scene is really great.
Yeah,
Even
it's
like the blowing action from Superman, like the blowing air thing, he uses
yeah,
it in
that was
very
cool.
strategic moments, and you can, I don't know, it's just really well plotted. It's real smartly written.
Yeah. To take a quick step back, Simon, like you talking about how like there's a lot of characters in this movie, and I think that was like a general worry with a lot of people. Like, oh man, how is he going to balance all these characters? James Gunn actually said something really funny leading up to this movie that I wanted to point out because he talked about how Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer had a lot of characters too, but it's still a very clear and concise movie. And I was like,
Nice.
I think that's pretty funny because, like, realistically, like this movie, yeah, it has a lot of characters, but it's very well balanced, and you're also kind of going into it with some background knowledge with a lot of these characters. So, in theory, yeah, like there is a lot of characters, and a lot to balance, but like you at least have a little bit of knowledge going in, at least us, and like definitely someone like Ken, as an example, that like read comic books a lot, like growing up and everything like that too. So yeah, I think
I think the challenge, though, is in contrast to Oppenheimer, is that Oppenheimer has the challenge, doesn't have the challenge of having to show off what Hawk Girl can do.
yeah,
Like, what the
she
hell
sound
is
like a
Hawk
hawk.
Girl? Yeah, that's so awesome. And she
Yeah.
also kills the friggin' president of Barovia.
Yeah, dude, that
Which
was
is
I love
crazy.
that. We're like,
That
oh,
line
what are
was
you
good.
gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
like she's like, I'm not Superman, and just fucking drops.
Yeah, he's like,
him.
you're not gonna kill me. Superman would never kill me. I'm like, I'm not Superman, dude.
Yeah.
You're dead, bro.
Yeah.
And she was like hitting them with a mace, those guards with a mace.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, they're dead. They're just not showing the blood because it's rated friggin' PG-13. But they're gone.
Yeah.
These people they're dead men.
And again, like talking about the fight scenes when they're all fighting the big monster in the middle of like Metropolis, and
Really cool.
literally she's like, like because like she's like bashing in this monster's eye in with the mace, but then her leg gets stuck in his eyelid.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna get blinked to death. Like my knees are stuck. Like little things like that are so good, and even
a lot of Fillion's lines were great like that too.
Yeah, very much so. And it's cool because like Green Lantern's powers are, it's cool. Like he has a ring that can literally do whatever the fuck he wants, right?
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's so creative. There's a scene with, again, that big kaiju thing where Mr. Terrific's like running away and he's like, oh shit, like I'm about to get eaten by this thing. And then Green Lantern puts like a muzzle on this creature using his ring. And I'm like, there's little things where it's so creative and fun.
You're not doing the same thing twice as part of the charm of it. Like, again, some of the Marvel fight scenes lately have been boring because they do the same moves. Like you'll see Black Widow or like Florence Pugh's character do the same, like that they love that move where you go on top of their head and like you choke them out and they fall. Like it's the same move. It's like, that's cool to see it once. Like you see it in Civil War, right? But like, I don't necessarily need it multiple times because it's not that useful. But it's just, again, the creativity, especially because of how creative Green Lantern's powers are. Or even like if you look at, that's a good example too. Like Miss Marvel's powers are kind of like Green Lantern's powers in the TV show or in general, but she doesn't really use anything specific. Her creativity is really in the Marvels, as an example. Like they're not really creative at all. There's just like a lack of I think it's like honestly, passion is the word I would use. Like James Gunn has passion for this project, and he clearly put a lot of thought into it. And again, that's like a lot of painstaking like days, I'm sure, like thinking about the details and the tiny things, the things that make this universe tick and what this movie will be like.
Yeah.
Its shortcomings is kind of what you described. I think it played it a bit safe in that it did. It's funny, like I don't know if I ever got to this, but when they show off Bradley Cooper's character, and then it ends up being that Superman's fairly confident in himself, and then he becomes not confident in himself. It's a classic Marvel formula, because that's the whole thing. You're challenging yourself, like, who am I really? Am I really that good of a person? I don't know if I'm that good. And then you realize yourself as the true hero, and then you fight yourself and you win. And then you've not only fought your internal battle, but you also fought the same person in it, like whatever it is. If it's Ant-Man, you're fighting the Corey Stoll's character in an Ant-Man costume, as an example, or whatever it may be. So like, that's kind of, again, it's funny. I didn't even think of that, because I always thought of him fighting Lex Luthor, but it is true. He followed that same journey of not understanding truly who he really was, because he found out finally that his parents were not the greatest people. I guess it actually gave me, having watched Invincible, vibes recently. Like, I kind of gave me that tone of Invincible, which I really appreciate too. And like, there's this idea too with the way the movie ends with, was it at the end or the scene before that with the dog in it and him in space. And I think this will be a much more like in universe, like out of in galaxy DCU as well, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, we'll see more outside of Earth. Yeah. Which will be more like Invincible. Invincible's cool because of how much it goes off of Earth too. It's such a not Earthbound show in some way. Like, it takes place a lot of the time elsewhere, which I kind of appreciate. Like, there's a much grander universe outside, and the DC comics, I think, could do the same. So it's cool that they're doing that right away.
Yeah, because I think Supergirl, I think they set it up, because like Supergirl shows up at the end and she's like, where's my dog? Because Superman's taking care of Crypto.
Right.
And like, she's kind of like wasted. Like, she like shows up, like not wasted, but like hungover, it seems. And then, Superman literally like says like, oh, like she goes to like a bunch of different planets with like red suns, because the yellow suns will, like, we can't get drunk on that. Like, because like it rejuvenates us so much. So I imagine the Supergirl movie next year isn't going to take place on Earth. It's probably going to take place on some random planets, her getting kind of blasted.
I think the best example of this, and I think that it might come up sooner, is the Lantern show is supposed to be like their space cops in like going through different planets and solving crimes. So that's cool too, with like Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler, who I also really like. And I think Kyle Chandler is underrated. Like, he's not in enough things. He's great. So that's an exciting one too. And Nathan Fillion will be in that one too. That dynamic, I'm sure, is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, the haircut. What a great haircut, man.
I'm glad they acknowledged how bad it was. I'm glad that they didn't just like be like, oh no, this is supposed to be a good haircut. No, like Lois Lane. It's funny because there's the scene where like they even acknowledge it, like, oh, like, Guy Gardner, he, anytime he doesn't want to do something, he just says that it's part of his like oath that he made to the Lantern Corps, and then he can't do it because it's vaguely mentioned that it's not something that he should do. And then Lois Lane literally is like, your haircut's not something you should do, or whatever.
Yeah. Should be against your laws.
Yeah. So I think the one thing, again, I think every character plays off each other incredibly well. Even like the characters that don't have a crazy amount of screen time, that there's like this instant chemistry, like Jimmy Olsen's character and Eve as an example. It's really funny. Like, you have that character that's like doing these selfies in like the Luthor Corps, and you think that she's kind of a bimbo, and she kind of acts like a bimbo, but in reality, she's been just taking evidence from Lex Luthor just in case, because she knows
she's just happy-go-lucky. She's not really a bimbo at all, really. It seems like she's actually just pretty smart, and she's just like really into Jimmy. But everyone's into Jimmy for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like you have Clark Kent, this like 6 foot tall, like giant dude with like perfect hair, and because I guess he's got the hypno glasses on. The women in the office are like looking at Jimmy, and I'm like, wait, were they looking at Jimmy? I was confused. Right, they were looking at Jimmy, right?
They were, they're looking at him. It seems like he's like a womanizer, and even like when he's on his phone and he's about to text like his source, who ends up being the Eve woman that we see like in the movie taking selfies. Literally, like her thing is like he has a bunch of women's names in his contact list, and then for her it's Mutant Feet. I'm like, who the fuck's Mutant? Oh no, sorry, Mutant Toes or something like that. I'm like,
because
he didn't like toes. I was like, what superhero is this going to be? Like, is it going to be like is it Martian Manhunter or something like that? It's like, no, it's just this woman. And then she literally acknowledged, like, you said my toes look weird or whatever.
Right.
This movie's really good, man. The more I've actually talked about it, the more I like it.
Yeah, I think you know what is this is almost not a criticism. It's almost I feel like I would wish I had more, but I guess
Mhm.
that's exactly the feeling he wanted to deliver. I just feel like we kind of didn't we got a lot of glimpses of things like Clark's parents and like we got glimpses Ken mentioned when we left the theater like our friend that we went to the theater with and we go to the theater often with
Yeah.
Kenneth Saddlebauer mentioned that he was really happy that they chose actors that were not like super well known and that it is a really smart idea. And the reason why that's really smart is because they're not known and Clark doesn't want anyone to know who they are. So it's kind of this aspect of like these aren't actors who are on everything. I don't know where Ma Kent is anything. I've never seen her at all, that actor. I've never seen her. But the actor who plays Pa Kent, like I've seen him in quite a few things, is Pruitt. Man, I forgot his name again. I forgot it outside of the
Pruitt
theater
Taylor
too.
Vince.
I know it's because it's like he's got 3 first names. I could never. It's no, I guess it's 2 first names and a last name that's at the front, and I can never remember it. But yeah, Pruitt Taylor Vince is quite good. I liked him in The Walking Dead, but I most know him I think from The Mentalist. He's like one of my favorite characters on The Mentalist. So that's weird to say because he's not in that many episodes. But he's just got this like I don't know. He's got a little bit of a gravitas. I like him. There one scene with him and Clark on the bench or whatever outside their house. I teared up. I gotta say, I thought that was really well done. I thought that like it was really well delivered by Pruitt Taylor Vince, and I feel like he's underrated. He's just not in. He's not in enough. And I've never seen Ma Kent, and she's okay. I have no idea. I don't know who she is. I just don't know her. She's not in it that much. I feel like Pruitt Taylor Vince was the star player because of that emotional scene that he had to play in that moment. But yeah, that's just one thing that again is like there's a lot of things that are strange. Like I don't really understand. There's a lot of dynamics that I wish I knew a little bit better, I guess. And I think that's one of your criticisms too, because you were saying I didn't know that Lex Luthor hadn't met Superman. It's kind of true. Like it is weird. We didn't know the dynamic. Even like Lois Lane, we didn't know they were already in a relationship, and they're kind of like, oh, they're in a relationship, and she's walking to her house and she didn't know he was there. It's like I'm like, this is going to be Clark Kent. I mean, who else could it be at this point in the movie? But I'm like, are they already dating? Is my question. Like hearing the noises of the kitchen as he's making breakfast for dinner. I'm like, is this like a relationship that's already established? And it's like, they already established like a lot of it, but like that relationship is so beautiful to watch that it's almost like, I kind of wish I got more of that. Like I wish I got the beginning of that. What did that look like? But again, it's not an origin story in a lot of ways. And I feel like that's just not the point. It's an origin story of him, I guess. I think, did James Gunn say this? It's an origin story of Superman understanding finally who he is. I think James Gunn said that in an interview. James Gunn said so much that it's possible he said that, but I think that's what it is. Like it's an origin story in a way because he finally understands. It's like a self-realization journey, which is exactly the MCU formula. Which is funny because Gunn never really made the MCU formula in any.
No, that's the funniest thing is that Guardians is more original than this movie is in like the way in the story structure at least. I mean, I guess like the first Guardians movie is like them kind of like all characters realizing who they are.
It is kind of the origin story a little bit, but it's not really the way it ends. Is not really. They're all realizing who they are. But like that's all. Yeah, you were saying earlier that you thought the Guardians is a bit more heartfelt, but I don't know if did I say this already? I don't think so because I think it was a spoiler, the non-spoiler portion. But the thing about that is that I think the reason why Guardians 3 is so brilliant is because we've been with these characters for so long now and we've established who they are. And now we've got all that stuff out of the way. We know who these characters are. He can just go into the deep stuff. Like he can really go way below the surface with each character, like Rocket as an example in 3 is like, that's a really great transformative journey that happens in that movie with Rocket the raccoon. And I think that again, that's part of it. And I think that in this, like you're establishing each character, so you can't really go, how deep can you go? You got to establish their powers. Like, what does Mr. Terrific do exactly? Like, it's cool. He's cool. He's a cool dude. He's got a really bad garage door, but what does he do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand him really. I mean, you don't really know who Nathan Fillion's character is. There's too many characters, but it's not really like he did such a good job balancing them all. But ultimately at the end of it, you're like, but I kind of wish you went a step further with almost everyone. Like Barry White. I love that actor too. That dude's from like he's in the Jack Ryan TV show. He's also like a large part in Suits. Like what's his name? He's great. I just think he's great, but they barely use him. They barely used Lawrence Fishburne in the Superman movies, like the old Zack Snyder Man of Steel movie as an example. And I think that was a missed opportunity. They almost made this gentleman like do more, this Barry White. But I did appreciate it. I like seeing the reporter
Perry
side.
White.
Perry White. I'm so sorry, Barry White. That's a singer.
Yeah, I was like,
that's an artist.
Barry White. I was like, what?
That's embarrassing.
No worries, dude. Hey, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's good. But thank you for catching me on that, because we would just had Barry White.
Yeah.
the the crooner. That's what they call it, right?
Driving crooner.
What?
The driving crooner.
What's the driving crooner?
It's from season 3 of I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of it, which the guy Beck Bennett, he's in like a skit, and I Think You Should Leave. He's in this movie. He's a reporter with mustache. Reporter.
Yeah.
Perry
White. Oh, Wendell Pierce is the name of the actor. He's great. But I want to see more. I want to see more reporter Clark Kent. I would like to see a show. But that's like, I almost want a show with all of this stuff. I almost want it rather than movies in a weird way.
Yeah.
And it's strange because like seeing Creature Commandos and in the way that they broke, like, again, written completely by James Gunn, like how he broke down each character in Creature Commandos, I think is really brilliant. I think it's almost like I want that here. And it's interesting. I'm just so curious. Okay, well, let's wrap up the review of this, I guess. And then I just want to ask you a question that we can get into the nitty-gritty of spoilers of how we think this universe might go before we give the review scores. But
okay,
what do you think about this, like the movie? Anything else that stood out to you, or anything else you wanted to mention before we move on to like what's next for the DCU? Because we can kind of talk what's next in a spoiler way, which is kind of
I think I mentioned everything that I really wanted to. I didn't write any notes because again, we're going in this very hot. So I think I
just watched the movie.
Yeah. So I think I talked about most of my talking points. I really liked it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Cool.
But yeah, like in regards to where this universe will go, that's a cool part. I don't really know because it's already established. This universe is already gone technically, and we're just kind of being thrown in the middle of it. I'm very curious.
It's almost better though.
Yeah. No, I like it.
He's done so much, but I think the problem with that is what we just talked about is like, James Gunn's got so much attention to detail, but he's going to have many creators do this, not just him. So it's like, are we going to get like creators really playing fast and loose with the rules? And then we're going to maybe dislike because of the fact of how much is established, because that could be why the MCU is failing in some way too, is because there's so much going on. You know, what's really interesting about this movie too? If they had what do they call them? The stray outlaws or whatever, the
Justice Gang?
The Justice Warriors. What are they?
Justice Gang.
Right. Stupid. The Justice Gang. The Justice Gang are already in the movie. You know what's really cool about that? The MCU sucks at that. Sucks at it so bad. Oh, there's a monster in the middle of New York City. Oh, I guess it's just going to be the title character in the movie that's going to come and help. Like they have 55 heroes they've introduced, and then no one comes and helps.
And the issue is in the MCU, everyone lives in fucking New York City. Everyone, pretty much. Like they all live in the same city.
Whereas Spider-Man, god damn it, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's stupid. It's so dumb, and they never fix that problem. They're like, we can't get the actor. It's like, well, maybe you cast an actor that's too well known. I don't know. That's your problem. That's the problem you made. And like I think James Gunn introducing the Justice Gang here is actually really smart writing, because it doesn't make any sense that that the universe would be already established and that there wouldn't be other people that would come to the rescue. But I think that can lead to problems that the MCU has when we get into later movies, because they can't go super big with the fights as an example. You can't have a massive creature in the middle of Metropolis, because it's again, the MCU has that problem where it's New York and they've got Metropolis and Star City and Gotham. So they've got multiple cities they can kind
Bloodhaven. Like there's so many cities that they can play with, right?
You're right. And they're made up too, which is helpful.
Exactly. Whereas I think the MCU's biggest issue is it all takes place in, again, New York is the city.
You put stars in it. Like you put crazy big name actors in it that are getting paid way too much money, and then what are you going to do when you think that you're going to bring in? Because how is
To be
Sam
fair,
Wilson
though,
not in New York to save the day in that situation in Thunderbolts as an example? Like, what are you
that's
talking
fair. To be fair, though, like a lot of the actors when originally cast in the MC weren't
that big.
Yeah, right. So like Tom Holland is big now because of the MCU. Right?
That's true. So can they keep it up then is the question for the DCU. And that's my biggest question. Like, can they make it feel, because this movie feels more real than a lot of the Marvel movies recently.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One is the world building, but also the hierarchy of power, which is a huge mess in the MCU.
Yeah. Cause like arguably the biggest actor in this movie that plays a major role is probably Nicholas Hoult. Like he's been in the most properties. I think he like I would argue he's probably the biggest actor there. But again, he's Lex Luthor, and now he's in. I guess we didn't even talk about it. He gets fucking arrested, I guess, at the end, and he gets put in wherever. So like, he technically doesn't need to show up. And again, he's a villain. He's doing bad stuff. He's not coming to the rescue. Isabella Merced, I think, is going to, blow up quite a bit just because of The Last of Us and now this too. And I'm sure all these actors are going to blow up quite a bit more.
Corn Sweat, I think, will blow up really big.
Yeah,
Rachel Brosnahan had a hit show on Amazon forever that got nominated every year for Best Comedy. And
the Miss
Marvelous
Maisel
Miss
one.
Maisel.
Okay,
she almost won every year. The thing I know her from most, though, I watched her in House of Cards. That was the big thing that I'd seen her in before. And she's great. She's really great, honestly. It's almost shocking that she hasn't been in any big blockbusters before. I wonder if that was intentional on her end, or maybe it's Marvelous Miss Maisel took up a lot of time, maybe.
Never watched it. I want to watch it, though. I heard it's good.
The other question is, like, what does the future hold for the DCU on the perspective of, are we going to see these characters? Are we going to see Superman in something soon? Is Corn Sweat going to be in anything else? Like in the next 5 years? Like, or are we waiting for the next Superman movie to happen, which could happen a long time from now, because that's not announced on the slate at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't know, maybe he'll show up in like an animated thing just a voice, but like I think with the live action stuff coming out, because we know Supergirl's going to happen. I'm assuming that's off world. Like it's going to take place in like space and stuff. Maybe he has like a brief, appearance in that, but I don't think it's going to be a focus. Right. I know Batman Brave and the Bold is going to take place. That's going to be in Gotham City, presumably. So it's
you don't have to have him there.
Yeah. Right. Like, so I think what they're developing, they're all in different settings. So you don't necessarily have to bring in the characters when a big situation occurs.
I'm more saying we got these characters in such small snippets. I kind of want more of them. I'm going to miss. Yeah. Are we going to not see these characters now for how many episodes? Like,
we'll see Rick Flag.
How many years?
Like
Rick Flag we'll see, which is
Green
cool.
Lantern, like Guy Gardner, we're gonna see in the Lanterns show. So like I think we're still gonna get some like crossover, but I don't think it's gonna. I mean, to be fair, like even in the MCU, we don't get. I mean, you just mentioned it. We don't get that crossover unless it's a fucking Avengers movie, right? So
it's true. I did get a lot of Tony Stark though. Like when is the next? Yeah. Like there's no cross. Unfortunately.
I meant like unfortunately in the sense of. Like we get him so much that he literally does an ad for Ironheart.
Sure, but he's great. Like I think I agree. That's a great thing.
But,
but it's good because he was so willing. Like Robert Downey Jr. was so willing to be in so many things for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sure he got a lot of money.
Yeah,
he did get a lot of money. But it's great because it kind of brings it together. Like seeing him in it makes it feel like there's a gravitas for the overall MCU. I don't know. I'm more saying, like, are we gonna not see them because there's no team up movie and we're not gonna see Superman for 6 years? Like I have no idea.
I think they're gonna come out with a Superman movie within the next 3 years. I think it's just not on the slate because I mean, like, dude, like this is like I still think like this is a House of Cards, not to reference a show that you just mentioned that Rachel Brosnahan's a part of, but like. If this movie didn't do well, I think apart from Supergirl, they probably would have canceled all the continuing projects. And I think
Lanterns would have continued. I think they're filming it now.
Pardon me, sorry?
Lanterns would have continued.
Lanterns and Peacemaker obviously coming out. But I mean, from a movie perspective. But sure. I think like a sequel to the Superman universe is contingent on how well this movie does. And I think it's probably going to do well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, Superman 2 in like 3 years from now? Because like,
That'd be great.
do we know like all the movie? I mean, we know some of the movies like that are referenced, but like none of them are in production. Are they, apart from Supergirl?
Yeah, the weird one is like the Batman one too. Like, man, Batman, where is it? What are we doing here? We got to get the Batman cooking here. And I don't know that I don't know. I like the Flash movie. It's interesting. Like
Me too.
I'm thinking about because it's the same dude from the director of it. What's his name now?
Andy Muschietti.
Muschietti. Yeah. Andy Muschietti's directing this apparently still, but they don't have anything going with that. It's funny. Those two characters, Superman and Batman, are the characters. They're essentially I think everything in the DCU really hinges on them. So you kind of have to nail both of those characters to do a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm so tentative now because I'm like, now I knew he was going to nail it, but I'm kind of like, I don't have a direction. I actually have less of a direction kind of in a way, in a strange, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do now. Cause it's like, you've got a really good setup. Like, it's really great. I love this. I just think that I'm curious where do you go from here? Lanterns is still the most anticipated thing, other than Brave and the Bold, but I just don't know. That Batman thing is up in the air, and we don't know when that's coming at all.
Yeah.
And The Authority sounds good, and I think James Gunn's going to direct it. I'm still betting on that. I have a feeling because he just seemed like he didn't have anybody, and he really is passionate about The Authority. So, I guess we'll see. The Clayface movie got an actor, right? Did we talk about that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll talk about it again. Okay, well that's it. That's the end of it. Let's review. Let's do the review scores and then say sayonara.
Wild Hearts. Great game.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking for this movie, I really enjoyed it. I think this is like a great movie. I think it's a 4 out of 5 for me, my friend.
Oh, wow. That's exactly my score.
Nice, dude.
4.0 out of 5. That gives our Rotten Potatoes score. That's 8 out of 10 potatoes.
That's a good amount of potatoes, dude.
Yes. Yeah,
Delish.
It was very good. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this universe. I just, I don't know. I'm tentative. I'm very curious to see where it will go. But yeah, That's cool. All right. Well, thank you, Adrian, for joining me on a closer look at Superman. Thank you, audience, for listening. Goodbye.
Take care.